Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic host and I hope we're doing well, and today we're going to be talking about Benioff and Weiss canceling their San Diego Comic-Con appearance. So this news was first broken, at least for me, on yesterday's stream over on the Geeks and Gamers channel with Jeremy and also with Gary Nadrotic, and oh man, is anyone really surprised that they canceled this appearance? So for those that don't know, Game of Thrones is indeed over, but San Diego Comic-Con was going to be the very huge goodbye to the series, a big thank you to the fans, a big thank you to all the support over the years. And all these different people were already scheduled to have arrived, but a bunch of people have now since canceled. So let's actually go through those who actually have canceled. So actors Ian Glenn, who played Jorah Mormont, who actually I'm pretty sad that he's not going because he seems like a pretty cool guy. Let's see, Nathalie Emmanuel, who was Missandei of Nath, director Miguel Spadnotnik of dual-writer producers Benioff and Weiss are no longer attending. HBO revealed in a revised panel lineup on Wednesday. The premium cable network attributes their absences to production and scheduling conflicts. HBO had no further comment, and even the Daily Caller over here puts it in this way: production and schedule conflicts. Right, because seriously, if anyone actually believes that this is the reason why they are not showing up to Comic-Con, and it's not because of absolute shame and knowing that they are going to probably get booed off the stage because people know that they decided to phone it in on their last few, on the last season especially, of the show, and just totally screw up the characters, totally screw up the character arcs, and just leave the fans in the dust, then obviously, if you're still believing that, then you've got no common sense left in the world. The obvious reason why they're not coming anymore is because they know that people are going to, probably boo. And actually, there was word that came out that on the Free Folk subreddit, they actually said that they were going to try to publicly shame them. Now, what that actually means, I don't know. Something tells me that they probably would have had a group of people show up to Comic-Con and just yell shame at them. I highly doubt, especially knowing just the memes and all the information coming out of that subreddit, that anyone was actually going to pose physical violence to them. But I know personally, I would love to have seen that, just, as far as, just to see them get shamed in that way, with people just yelling shame or just booing, because at the end of the day, they deserve it. They really do. Obviously, we can think about all the really cool seasons that they had when they had George R.R. Martin really helping them out with giving them, legit stories and really good lines and everything to that effect, and when they were actually following the stories. But then as you start to see those later seasons come on, when George R.R. Martin's no longer really a part of the franchise, you start to see that they start to have more autonomy. They start to really buy into their own egos, because obviously everyone's saying, oh my God, Game of Thrones is one of the greatest shows of all time. They buy into that and think they can do no wrong, and then what happens? They end up producing one of the worst seasons of television in history. In fact, many people, and again, Gary, I think, is totally right on this, that they are going to be writing books on how to not end a television series, because if you want to see how to screw up characters, if you want to see how to screw up character arcs, if you want to see how to destroy a fandom by basically having almost every single person, even the most optimistic people. My wife was one of those persons where she was so optimistic about the show, even 3 or 4 episodes into the final series, she says, oh, it's okay, it's going to get better. As soon as the last episode started, she immediately thought to herself and spoke out loud saying, okay, I can't defend this anymore. So even my wife, who was a very, positive supporter, didn't really notice any major issues until this last season, really liked the previous material, even though we can understand that the real fall off of this series started in those last 3 or 4 seasons, especially. If that happens to her and it happens to a lot of other people, then it just kind of flies in the face of all this nonsense we're getting from the mainstream media. And Daily Caller obviously is showing itself to be a little bit more honest about this, but that there are a bunch of other sites out there that will totally continue to shill for HBO, and that's the reason why you see Hollywood continuing to shill for them as well, getting a record-breaking 32 or so Emmy nominations for the show, including for best writing of an episode, is just a slap in the face of everything that is commonsensical in this world. If you want to understand what Hollywood's all about, if you want to understand what the media elites and the access media are all about, just read any positive story, any positive elements about this final season by any person in the media, by any person in Hollywood, and you will see very clearly who people are, which people are in the tank of an organization, of a media organization, or which people are a part of that Hollywood elitist class in Hollywood that is going to continue to try and push this nonsense, push these stupid narratives, and protect their own in all cases. Is the reason, we see the things like this. If they will continue to, push this nonsense out there and defend crap, it makes sense that they're also some of the worst people in the world, because they're the same people that are defending and hiding the names of and not revealing who these damn predators on Hollywood either. So it really isn't that surprising that, if they would be willing to go ahead and go that far, to go ahead and try and protect their friends after they've done really bad things, why wouldn't they just take that small step of saying, oh, that's a really good show, the fans don't know what they're talking about, or oh no, we're going to go ahead and nominate it for an Emmy. In fact, you know what? I would not be surprised at this point if they were to give the win. Imagine this. Not only an Emmy-nominated season, but an Emmy-winning season. Now, I think that some of the actors probably deserve some Emmys because I think that their work deserves to be, praised. But if the writer, if Benioff and Weiss seriously get any recognition at the Emmys this year, it's just going to make that even more of a joke than what it already is. But this is something more about San Diego Comic-Con, because San Diego Comic-Con seems to have been, seems to have become this place now where it's no longer about celebrating comics. It's no longer about celebrating these different fandoms. It's all about propping up and trying to imagine that the world is something that it's actually not. By, pushing propaganda even at these, various panels. I mean, Gary was reading off a list of all these different meetings and all of these different panels that they're having. And like 20, 30 of them are something to do with strong women in the industry or LGBTAIP, whatever the acronym is now, rights in movies and, rights in shows and rights in whatever. And that's what it's become now. It's become now this place for propaganda to be spilled and also for stupid nonsense to be pushed as well. If they were actually going to be honest, then it would be let's have a back and forth discussion about this final season. Let me answer your questions honestly. But Benioff and Weiss wouldn't do that. Benioff and Weiss are going to go off into the sunset and do Star Wars and probably ruin Star Wars in the process because they're so full of themselves. Their heads are so far up their own butt and they're so used to the smell of their own stench that they think they can seriously do no wrong. And when they find out that we remember, that the North remembers, that people and fandoms remember what they did with Game of Thrones and how they did not care about Game of Thrones, why would those same people, which is a lot of people, think about how many people watched Game of Thrones, think about how many people were so excited for this last season, and think about how many of them were pissed off and disappointed. Do you think that people are going to forget that when the next Star Wars movie comes out and has by the creators and the people who brought you, is it going to say the people who brought you the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones don't remember those other things, especially don't remember that last final season? But imagine how many people now are going to say, screw you, Benioff and Weiss, if you can't even face your fans, if you can't even be freaking men. If you can't stand up and be freaking men and face the fans who you disappointed and can't face the fact that you're probably going to have to answer tough questions, seriously, these so-called production conflicts are total crap. And people like you need to have a wake-up call. And so I hope that there's some video footage that comes out from that panel of people calling you guys out because you guys deserve to be called out because you gave up on the fans, you decided to give in to your own egos and provide total and utter crap garbage. But guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? Do you think that it really could have been production issues that kept them from going? Or do you think, like me, that it was because they're afraid to face the fans? They're afraid that they're going to be embarrassed in public, even though they've already been embarrassed by the general public's population just because of the fact that the show has sucked and it's impossible to hide that at this point? Or do you think there's something else going on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, guys, please smash the like button, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. It helps me out a lot. You guys are all amazing, beautiful people. And also, I want to give a huge shout out to every single Asgardian on this channel that helped to support the buying of new audio equipment. So I am currently using the new microphone, the Shure SM58, and also the Euphoria UMC202 HD interface. Everything's working pretty great so far. I've done a couple test live streams with them as well, and things seems to be turning out pretty well. So let me know your own thoughts about the sound quality. If you think the sound is better, if you think the sound is worse, if you think there's things that I need to do, maybe you're someone that's an expert in this field, I would really greatly appreciate the help. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.